All right. Welcome and welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us. This is session 11, I believe, of LandFall. I'm DM Feanor, a professional dungeon master throughout the week, and these are some of the players in some of my marvelous games. We are the Mythlanders. This is Big Bry. Down below him is Jay Fink, and just to his right is DL, or Darth Loquitur. Yeah. So last session we left on a pretty hairy note. You all have moved through the halls of silence. The place seems to be degrading somewhat. You can see through the floors. You have Manai went in a few different directions. They spread out and created chaos. They unleashed the experimental, conscious, the sort of risen tireless dead, the reawakened tireless. They moved toward the reliquary and they moved toward the Keystone Chamber. You all very wisely gauged that the Keystone Chamber was sort of the worst place for them to get into, as releasing the Keystone would, well, destroy the city, would allow all the folded ships of the Magi to unfold, filling the space very rapidly that the city was once in, doing a lot of, say, force damage to the whole city and everyone in it, all the structures. So currently, you all have fought some undead, some of former companions. You all fought several of the strange, indescribable horror demons, and you now are engaging a Manai in the Keystone Chamber. As you stepped in at the far end of the chamber, you could see, as if through a gauzy, glowing film, you could see, it was almost like you could see across to another room that was like yours. And if you look just to the side, like looking into a mirror, you could see another one and another one and another one. So as you've approached, what's going on the other side of this sort of wall I'll bring us to the map here in a minute. You'll see the wall of light. That's really what that is. It's sort of that gauzy film, and on the other side you can see events playing out slightly differently, slightly different versions of yourselves in many realms. In others, a completely different group of people, and a few of those, like just different people. But for the most part, what you're seeing are yourselves, but slightly different, events going slightly differently. The Manai itself seems quite capable of using its claws and its bite, as well as using magic, and doing both at the same time, seemingly. But as the battle has worn on, it seems to have exhausted many of its powerful magics, particularly all the damaging ones. You have been charmed and feared, blasted with lightning, slashed with claws, and there's currently a cloud, sort of a stinking cloud in the room with you. It seems to be managing multiple things at once and still sort of drifting almost lazily but quickly through the air as it flies somehow. Those are certainly the broad strokes. What else do you have to add, or are there any questions you all had? I think there were a couple of questions before we start. But either way, I'm happy to be here. I'm super happy to be doing this every week. I really appreciate my players, and I appreciate everyone who comes and checks out our game, checks out the VODs afterwards. And we really appreciate you. This is a lot of fun, and it means a lot to a lot of us to be doing this. So, but DL, did you have any questions about last session, or have anything to add that I left out? Any important notes?
I probably just need to get back up to speed on all of the status effects that we've got going on.
Okay. Copy that. Let's take a look over at the map really quick. Let me actually shift us to the map on the stream.
Because there was like a stinking cloud, but maybe the concentration is broken on that now. It's just understanding. Oh, it's still on the field. Is it? Maybe that's not a concentration spell anyway.
All right, give me just a moment. I'm going to adjust something in the
Yeah,
background.
I think we were wondering if the fear was gone.
Give me just a moment. Try to adjust the view here on the map before we go. All right. Okay, let me double check really quick and see what we've got.
Sorry. Hi.
Hello, welcome, Pon Pon.
Thank you.
Hooray! The party needs you, Pon Pon.
Oh
You know, all hands on deck up here for this.
my gosh. I thought I was dead because I've been dead so often, but I'm not.
Nope.
Well, that's what he meant by hands on deck. Hands on
I should have 1 HP, I think.
Me too.
Oh boy, you guys.
Okay, to answer your question, it seems like any other ordinary fear effect, which in most cases it does require concentration. It seems capable of holding concentration on more than one object. Zim, you in particular have heard of, and Saida to some extent, elves have a long-standing relationship with magic and tend to sort of live more apart from the other races as they live far longer and have a different outlook on life and different way of living. So you're both familiar enough with magic that you both know that it's possible for some of, like, you know, that some of the magi among the effort can actually do that, but it usually involves enchanting some other item or just spending years and years and years sort of honing their magic to a point where they can do that. It usually involves really high intellect. So it's possible. You all can both make either Arcana, Religion, or History checks, the two of you, Saida and Zim.
All right.
Just before we start the session, we just we just said hello to everybody, and I did a little bit of a bit of recap from last session, and first one we got to was DL, who was like, "Yeah, we need to check everybody's status effects." So that's where we are currently at. Awesome.
And what were
Arcana, Religion. I would allow History or Nature as well.
Okay.
Zim has a 16 on Arcana.
13 Arcana.
So yeah, you all gain that much information, and you're fairly certain that it's either, well, from what it would be like for people of the sea folk, effort folk, it would either be an item, in which case the concentration would be equal, or it would be some sort of personal ability to split your focus, in which case it would be easier to interrupt the spells. If it works like a mortal. Might be possible to try to, given that you have the ability to do so, maybe try and discern what it has on its person, where, some of the magic that it might be holding up, you could, potentially see those things with the right magics. Crenshaw is currently feared.
Yep.
And Saida and Arrest are both at, and Crenshaw are all three at 1 hit point.
And I was curious, even though line of sight is broken for Crenshaw, does he still need to spend his turn running as far away as possible?
No, as long as you break line of sight, as I understand. Let me
Okay.
check on it.
I was like, man, I might be, with my wisdom saves, I might be backtracking all the way back to where we started in the Halls of Wisdom.
That's definitely possible. But let's see here.
Did you get my VOD link? VOD link, DM?
I see it. I have not inputted it yet. Give me just a moment.
All right.
It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. Okay. Yeah. If you can move and break line of sight, you're allowed to do that. And then once you break line of sight, you can start making saves.
Okay.
So I would say once you break line of sight, you no longer have to run. That's my interpretation. It's line of sight based. You can, as long as you break line of sight, you can.
Cool. Yeah, because I'm not confident about these wisdom saves.
Right.
So I was like, man, once I get to a certain point, I'm just going to stop moving my token. Just say we're this many rounds away.
All right. We got Pon Pon. Excellent. Make a couple
I'm so far away.
adjustments. Notice, let me adjust everyone's camera size. I'm getting an echo. All right. Looks like we are all in and moving. And we are all loud on the stream, except for me.
That's always the case.
Okay. Okay, let me bring you all down. Can someone say something for me? Give me a little bit of chatter on your end.
Something. I am saying something.
All right. Okay. That is better. Yeah. Is anyone hearing an echo on the stream?
A little bit.
I'm definitely hearing
Yeah.
an echo. Seems like only my mic is lighting up.
I mean, I am hearing an echo, but I'm multi-listening.
Gotcha.
Did anyone not mute their VOD, Ninja?
Oh, I didn't.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, sorry. I'll get that fixed in a second.
That just might be it. No worries. Yeah, I'm checking my RME babyface settings. Like, all right, why is it doing that? All right, let me get a little bit of music going though. Hopefully that's not blowing people's heads off.
Decently quiet at the moment. Goes up.
I'm gonna have to do VOD over again. Sorry.
That's all right. No worries, everybody. Once we get started, we'll get started and get going pretty good. Pretty serious situation, so. But yeah, take us just a few more moments probably to get everything set in. But yeah, how's everybody doing this week? Any interesting news from you? How about you, Joe? How are things with you?
Things are pretty good. Nothing interesting going on. Talk about
That you can talk about. Right. How about you, Bri? Anything going on with you? How you been?
Been good. No, nothing really super interesting going on. Just working and living.
Well, working and living right now is interesting enough. That's for certain. How about you, DL? How are you doing?
Great. I won $32 million in the lottery this week.
Whoa.
Fantastic.
Yeah, probably
You're
just
still
then I woke
here?
up. Yeah, then I woke up and it was all just
Oh.
me.
I remember us defeating this Manai, so I think we should just, continue on the story.
Well, like I mentioned, there's this on the other side of this strange wall. You're looking into other dimensions and realities, and there probably is one where you defeat this Manai.
Not this one. This is when it defeats us.
This is the one where it's certainly
I don't
yet
know
to be
about you,
seen.
but I'm planning to keep my feet.
Awesome. Got Ponpon's video ninja coming in. About to have Ponpon back on camera. Yes. All right. All right, check. How we sounding? How we looking? Everything looks to be going good. Had to, drop Twitch off. It was slowing my machine down a little bit, so. Okay. All right. All right, so yeah, we gave a little bit of backstory from what happened last session, a couple of previous sessions leading up to the current battle that is definitely coming down to literally tooth and claw, at least for the Manai, and blood and bone for the rest of you. But Pon Pon, were there any questions you had, or any things that you wanted to remind ourselves, or sort of refresh us as to Pon Pon's experience last session, or anything that you want to add from last session, or any questions that you have?
Despite it going down, she does take people out rather gloriously from time to time. So I'm just hoping that I might be able to do that again, because it does look pretty grim. But I believe in luck and dice and us, so that's all I have to add, other than it was mostly we were fighting, so.
Oh, that's great. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how about you, Bri? You mentioned you had some questions before we jumped on.
Oh, it was just about the fear condition.
Okay.
I didn't know if I had to keep running or not, so.
Okay. No, I think there is. I mean, yeah, there is an interpretation where you have to keep running, but that's not how I interpret it. As long as you're sort of out of the fight, I don't want it once you wear off. I hate that feeling when I'm a player of like, well, it's worn off now, or I broke it with a save, and now I'm like 3 rounds away from the party at a dash. Like, that's super fun. So I missed 6 rounds of combat. Some situations I might play it like that, but you'll be warned ahead of time and be like, y'all, this is hardcore, more than usual. But all right, well, how about you, Joe? Any thoughts or anything that you wanted to add, ask about from last session?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I don't remember what the green dot was for, but that's okay.
I think that was for the real you.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, I thought it was the immunity condition. I thought you were immune to all damage and
That's
spell
right.
attacks.
For 7 minutes.
That definitely wore off between sessions.
Give us 7 real old men.
Yeah.
Sound the skill. Yes, that's right. It's the real. They just eradicated the last image.
Indeed. Yeah, let's see here. I believe.
Does the octopus have anything to add from last session?
I don't know. DL, does the octopus remember anything in particular from last session?
No.
I like that it's.
It can hold its breath for 30 minutes. It's still got a while to hold its breath.
That's surprising.
Its thoughts were.
Octopi had great memory.
Well, they do, but just maybe nothing to add at the moment. It's focusing on holding its breath.
They know all. What is there to say?
Yeah.
They grappled the skeleton for a minute.
All right. Well, unless there's any other questions or anything, we're going to step right into it. Anybody before we start?
I'm ready to go.
All right. So then at the top of the order, the Manai floating with its fingers sort of splayed out, its arms down at both sides, its head sort of thrown back, a terrible grin of glee on its face, and its black eyes sort of gleaming downward in its bone-white face. It sort of rises up a few inches, each hand going through a complicated series of very quick gestures. It points down, the blood at your feet, slashed, dropped from your bodies, begins to flow very quickly along the ground. begins sort of pooling and writhing and shifting, sort of almost like reverse drips will come up out of the pool and rope and writhe around each other and drop, and they begin sort of spinning and very rapidly making a shape. At the same time, a finger points, the other hand stabs outward. It's two fingers pointing at Ares. All these layers. Ares goes shock still, his chest arced outward, his arms sort of thrown back, clutching the crossbow still in his hand. His body lurches forward. He aims the crossbow at Zim and fires. For a 19 to hit Zim.
I'll use my Ring of Shield.
Excellent. As the sort of shield-shaped, like sort of shimmering silver energy, you can make out, of course, the crest of the Alliance, the island, the fortress, the anvil, and the ravens in the background, all sort of shimmering in faint lines as the bolt bounces off. You see it crumpled and like arcing over, sort of back over your head. While the blood at your feet continues to sort of spiral and writhe, billowing out around you before shrinking into a roughly humanoid shape. Roll 20 is being a little bit slow there. That's not right. Sorry. That is the wrong token. Ba-bam. That is not right. Goodness gracious. I'm not sure what is going on. Give me just a moment.
Honey, I shrunk the ooze.
Well, it's just acting a little bit weird, and just gotta tinker with something in the background.
Well, looks like
Okay.
we're gonna have a blood monster to deal with. That'll be fun.
Yeah, fun.
And here I'm secretly a vampire. I feel like that would be the blood monster's weakness.
As the ropes, the gleaming, glistening ropes of blood wind around each other, rapidly sort of connecting and falling back down, making large loops and whirls, it's making a roughly humanoid shape. It seems to shift, and Saida, you make out the sort of rough outline of yourself holding the pike in your hand. Make a will save
Oh my gosh.
as you feel your body sort of stiffen. You can make
I
this
have-
with... Go ahead.
I will have to regretfully acknowledge in this moment I have a negative 4 all my rolls. So, yeah. You said will save?
A wisdom save, sorry.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, I'll apparently occasionally will break into 3.5 language.
So that would be 11.
That'd be an
right
11.
after the -4.
You stiffen. You lose 5 feet of movement. However, you maintain control of your body.
Something.
Indeed. At the same time, let's see here. It slashes out. The roping blood, tendrils of blood sort of rope out. They splash and slant against you. It feels sort of goopy and sticky. It attempts to like pull you toward it.
Yeah.
However, it misses outright. You're able to dodge beneath and around, perhaps parrying, or perhaps parrying or block, taking them sort of on the armor, or just pulling away from it and breaking tendrils of blood. The Manai moves. Ares has already fired.
Zim.
That was me.
Sorry? Yeah, I was just saying Ares.
I think you moved Zim's token on accident there.
Oh, sorry. Manai moves to there. Ares seems to be dashing toward Kinnett. No, sorry, he moves into the space where the Manai had just been. Something. Okay. Roll20's being a little bit wonky. I'm having trouble getting control. There we go. Awesome. And next in the order is Kinnett.
All right. I guess I will move to here. I will shoot an arrow at the Manai with my action.
Okay.
Pew! 23 to hit.
That is a hit.
Thank God.
16 damage.
Very nice.
All right. And then I will think of a proper insult for my bonus action, and I will tell the Manai that problem with the glass cannon, when the glass armor breaks, you're done.
It frowns as if it doesn't like your sense of humor.
Hey, what do you call a cow with no legs?
Its brows furrow.
Ground beef.
Side of laughs for sure.
The mad incongruousness of his joke in the middle of all this death and destruction make anyone laugh. Kinnett, Ares would be laughing if he wasn't bound by the thing's magics. Anything else for Kinnett this round?
No, that's it. That's all I got.
Nice. Next in the order is Crenshaw.
Alright, Crenshaw, having left the keep, is now in the entrance room. He is sat down on the bench and breathing heavily, trying to get a control of himself. And I guess he'll spend his turn making that wisdom save. I don't really think there's too much more he could do.
All right, give me just a moment. Go ahead and make that wisdom save.
Alright. That's 10.
Okay, when you ended your turn in that save, in that space, you could make your save. So that's one save.
Yep, I did.
Oh, okay.
It was a 1. Yeah, I did it last session, so I rolled a nat 1.
Okay.
Yep. So he's sitting there. He's not quite able to get control of himself, and he's just like, come on, get it together.
Okay. Just checking one other thing. Apparently having trouble spelling today. Okay.
T-H-E.
So I'm going to drop this in chat because this and the description of the spell is the parameters of what you're dealing with. So let me bring up that spell really quick.
Oh, I thought it was.
Well, here's the
a little bit
here's the
different
spell
when I.
description. So the spell is you have to move until you break line of sight, and you can start making saves to not be afraid. The frightened, and then it gives you the frightened condition, which states that a frightened creature has disadvantage on attack rolls while its source of fear is within the line of sight. So you can make attacks, but they're at disadvantage, and you can't willingly move closer to the source while you are frightened. So
Okay.
just lets you know your full set of options while you're frightened.
Well, I think I'm out of range completely, anyways. Oh. What's the range? I don't know what the range on a heavy crossbow is.
Oh man, 150, 400, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're within
then
100 feet is a straight roll. Outside of that would be even more disadvantage. So
I guess Crenshaw might fire off. I think he could. I think he could just barely see. Like if he were to step into the doorway and just kind of fire around the corner.
okay. Well, you can't willingly step closer.
Oh yeah. So yeah. So I mean, do you want? So that is the Manai is exactly 100 feet away.
I'd say you can see him.
Okay.
The other way you calculate it is you do, the outside part of your token, and then the outside part of its token. If any part of your token, even the outside rim, can touch any part of its token, you have a shot. Depending on the percentage that's there, the way I calculate it is depending on the percentage that's there, it might have cover.
Okay. This is, I think, the best angle. So, I mean, yeah. I don't know.
I'd say it might have.
You're welcome to make a ruling on that if you'd like.
It has a little bit of cover, partial, +2 to its
Okay.
AC.
Sure. And then I'll take that shot at disadvantage. Oh, okay. Well, that's an 18. Interesting.
Let's see here. Let me double check something really quick. Oh. It seems unable to shield itself. Perhaps it has run out of sort of power in that way, or run out of its prepared spells. The 18 hits.
Okay. That will do 12 damage. 12 piercing.
Okay. The Manai this time takes a sharp hissing inhalation as it stares out across, sort of across through the boiling poisonous fog, almost right at Crenshaw.
And then Crenshaw will, in his turn, he'll kind of step laterally back out of line of sight.
Okay. And you've attempted your save for this turn already? With that, okay. With
So
that 10.
That would be the wisdom save, and that's 10.
All right.
Still freaking out a little bit in that small infantry room.
Absolutely, but nice rolls, 18 and a 22. Pretty.
Yeah.
All right. Next in the order is Zim.
Uh, hmm. To the Manai is up floating.
Yeah, it's within range still, but its feet are about, 4 feet off the ground, 3 or 4 feet off the ground. So you could reach it to touch it, barely. You might have to hop or use a weapon, of course.
Into Misty Step.
As you begin to move, the Manai quickly holds up its hands as if trying to grasp you. Make a wisdom saving throw. As you can feel it sort of tugging on the strands of the magic as it's coming together as you cast it. Seems to be attempting to arrest it.
Use my.
Okay.
Dice.
Ooh, that's rough, man.
Actually, I don't even need to. I'll use my GM inspiration now, because I have a thing that ones don't count.
Absolutely. Nice. Let's go. You feel the strands of energy sort of flowing around you, coming into the shapes that you will then step through. You feel them sort of tugged, pulled on. And then you feel a surge within them, perhaps not your will pulling them, but your will perhaps lightening the resistance or teasing open the path before those lines of energy. And it comes together. You take that step and make that short teleport. The Manai's eyes widen. It sneers. And you hear it say, all of you hear it say in your minds, "That's a lovely trick for a little worm. We will learn all of your tricks." She grins. All right, that's your bonus action for Zim.
Bonus action, I'll just fire at it with the crossbow.
Okay.
Bonus action.
You can still move because that Misty Step lets you move if you desire to.
I'm gonna stay there.
Okay.
Whipping a wand into my hand. Preparing to use it.
All right. Next in the order, Saida.
Well, this is an all or nothing moment. I would like to take my lance
Mm-hmm.
and throw it at the Manai.
So
Best as I can.
throw what you want to throw the lance at the Manai.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So that is going to be, as it's pretty heavy and not intended for it. Ordinarily, that's at a that's going to be a disadvantage on that roll. You can morph it into a spear and throw that instead as a straight roll.
Okay. Well, that was what I was wanting.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I don't have a spear on my sheet.
Okay. Yeah, you can go ahead and you can open the compendium and drag and drop that +1 spear over to your sheet,
Okay.
and then you can make a
I'm
check
not
with
used
that.
to this morphing weapon.
Right. You have some maneuverability there as you're only threatened on one side. I just wanted to point that out. So if you wanted to move closer, you could also do that.
That doesn't give the blood weird an attack of opportunity.
Only if you move out of its threatened space. If you step away from it, without sort of taking your action to disengage. So you can move freely through someone's threatened space, unless they have an ability that says otherwise.
Just near it, basically.
Right. Yeah.
Or like to there.
Yeah. Or all the way around it. You could move in between here. You could definitely move there if you wanted to. So you have some options. I'm not trying to give you hints or anything. Just I want you to know your options.
It doesn't matter how close to the Manai you are. Whether you're close or far, it's going to be the same thing if it decides to come for you.
True. That's very true. Well then, let's get personal.
Oh snap! All right.
Alright, I would like to take that. I know now I can still use the lance, but I'm still about the spear at the moment, so I got one-handed and two-handed. Can I two-hand this? Yeah, man.
One hand if you're using your shield, two hands if you're not using your shield.
No point in the
For
shield,
sure.
in my opinion. We're just gonna two-hand that sucker right at it, and yeah.
Awesome. All right, give me just a second. I'm having a little glitch on my end. Hold on just a moment. I'm having a little glitch on my end. Give me just a moment. I'm gonna go ahead and refresh Roll20. It's acting a little wonky. It's catching me on a cliffhanger now. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. 20. Nat 20. A 25 to hit. Let's go. That is a hit. Let's see here. That is 18.
And I was saying I know I have -4, but that was a nat 20, so that doesn't count, right?
A nat 20 would still hit. That would be a 21, which would still hit it. And then a nat 20 is always going to hit, unless they use some sort of reactive spell that makes you re-roll or something. All right, let's see here. 18. As the spear pierces the Manai's ribs at this point, it's sort of turned. Well, no, it's turned almost away from you, toward Kenneth, toward Zim. So you sort of pierce it into its left side, and the whole tip of the spear, you penetrate all the way. You run this creature through. This should be a killing blow on anything else. And the thing turns over, looks at you, and gives you the saddest little, like, smile of mock empathy. Like, oh, you poor thing. However, you can see its wounds. There are several silver bolts and arrows standing out from its body. It's slashed and torn. It has huge bite marks. Its glass armor is sort of broken. There's glittering shards of it all over the floor. So you can all make insight checks. It's very hard to determine how tough this is, how healthy this thing is by sight. Really, you have to sort of read it to know how healthy it is.
26
And
insight for Kenneth.
bang on. That is totally on brand for the scout-made leader of the crew. It's bluffing, 100% bluffing. Saida, you've been in many a fight. You've seen many people try to bluff their way, try to turn the tables.
She knows what she did.
Zim, you saw the autopsy. You saw how much, and you all did the damage that took it down. And you saw the sort of vivisection. This thing's really close to at least being knocked unconscious into whatever its strange torpor state is. Perhaps after that you can finish it off. It's close, but it's still alive. Anything else for Saida? You have your bonus action.
There really isn't anything I can do with my bonus action, unfortunately.
Okay. Okay. All right, moving round to next in the order. Ooh, let me just. It's like a roulette wheel. Who is it going to stop on? Who's next? Whose turn is next? All right. All right, how do we sound out there? Volume for all players, volume for DM, volume for music, still pretty good? Any thoughts or notes? Let's see, I'm not...
Music's a little low.
A little low?
Yeah. It might be a little low too, or it's probably happened.
Okay, let me check something then, make sure that's good.
Foolish descent, soft talker. That sounds better.
Better? Okay, good. Good.
Who's gonna Goodberry side of this time?
Got one left.
Manai with one hand reaches out, clutching the air, and pulls the cloud seemingly around you all. It continues with its other hand, sort of crooking its fingers, and Ares strides over or takes... No, let's see here. Would it do that? Yeah, it steps towards Saida, provokes an attack of opportunity from the octopus. As Ares raises its spear, you can see that his eyes are clouded over with a thick black film. It seems to be boiling like storm clouds.
14 on the Octo Crush.
Yeah, Octo Crush.
Nice. Unfortunately, it grabs the sort of, it grabs around the plate bracer, tries to crush, and it does not get a good enough grip. That is a miss. Ares strides forward, raises his spear sort of stiffly, and stabs out towards Saida for a 9 to hit. Oh, this is supposed to... These are public, right? Are these not public?
Yeah, we can see.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
So that would be a -4 to my AC, but that still doesn't
Nope.
hit.
Just your attack rolls, saving throws, and skill checks. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not your AC. So that 9
Okay.
yeah. That 9 should be
Definitely doesn't hit then.
I'm going to go ahead and take Ares off for the moment. No, we'll leave him there. The Bloodweird once more raises its tentacles, or it is just looping ropes of glistening blood. Very, very thin strands of it, not even very thick. There wasn't a whole lot of your blood on the ground. So it's almost just, it's moving fast enough and shifting enough to give this suggestion of form and outline. Bloodweird takes a step forward. You definitely see through its roping outlines frame. It peers towards Zim. Zim, are you attempting to completely, are you hiding behind that? I guess you haven't made a stealth check.
I'm not that tall. So.
Okay. Let's see here. All right. Kenneth, as blood yours from where you were struck continues to flow up the stairs, joining with the Bloodweird, you feel your body stiffen, and it provokes a will save from Kenneth as well, as it attempts to fantastic.
That's a 20.
You fight through it. You assert control over your body that seems to want to stop still, fall asleep. You're not certain, but you're not thinking too much about it. Just forcing your will to move back into your sort of limbs that want to turn traitor. The construct's arms move. The sort of ropes of blood thicken toward what looks like an outline of a spear, like Sida's, but it's clubbing you with it, attempting to. So as the strange blood creature, it gloms onto Sida, taking a good grip on her. You can feel the strength of it starting to buckle your armor. You can make an escape check, either your athletics or acrobatics.
Okay. Can I use my inspiration?
Yeah, if you've not used it before, then yes. Sorry, I did not
No.
track this time. Okay, awesome.
Eh?
You break through it.
Yeah. Still alive.
Very good. That seems to be like it was attempting to sort of grab onto you and then do crushing damage. All right. Ares has moved, made his attack. The Blood Weird has attacked. The Manai has moved. This continued its control. Crenshaw, the fear is broken on you. It is lost. You recover your, you recover your gut, your nerve.
I feel like in classic Crenshaw fashion, it's another fist to the forehead that breaks it.
Okay. All right. Manai, sort of its gaze drifting from Sida back over its shoulder toward Kennett and the rest, seeming to gauge its actions and decisions, watching its two minions attack, thrashing out at Sida. It seems uncertain. It seems to be quickly looking back and forth, deciding what exactly it's going to do. Okay.
All right. You gonna get this thing done or what, guys? Sida, you up for it? You gonna keep standing?
I'll keep standing as long as I can. And then some, apparently.
Yeah, you're getting a bit lucky right now, but still in it, huh?
The dice only like us every other session.
It's my turn.
All right. So, Side of the Manai turns its sort of wicked grin towards you, it quickly slashes out with its claw. Electricity crackling from between. It slashes out at Saida for a 24 to hit.
Yeah, well,
disadvantage,
that
right?
definitely hits. But let me tell you something about the look she gives, knowing that she's gonna go down. She smiles right before she strikes.
DM, isn't everything in the cloud heavily obscured?
It absolutely is, which would be a 23 to hit.
Yeah, no difference. Unfortunately.
Okay. Electricity crackles out across its fingertips. And once more, Saida is reduced to 0 hit points. Thus freed, it takes a step, it floats, drifts toward Kenneth. Arrest changes his focus. Gets a save, actually. With a low grunt that becomes a shout, sort of. RS begins shouting. Brief moment once more.
Manai is sitting in the middle of a stinky cloud.
At least we're all obscured.
I'm still here, but I will be right back.
Okay. RS seems to tear free of course, after making his action. Next in the order is Kenneth.
Alright, can I see for a ranged attack or no?
Yes, but very obscure. That's going to be at disadvantage.
Alright. I don't really want disadvantage, so I'm going to try something really dumb. Take a deep breath. Hold my breath. I'm going to come forward to here. And I'm going to switch out to my hand-to-hand weapons. And I'm going to take a couple short sword stabs.
All right. And what prompts that change in tactics from Kenneth?
Because this thing's on the brink of death, and I'm thinking if I get two weapons, I got twice as much chance of hitting it.
Excellent, yeah. Just the desire to finish it off.
It's only a 22. It doesn't have the +2.
All right, that's a hit. That is a hit.
Okay, 7 plus a d6.
Feel free to describe as you dispatch the Manai. The gas disperses.
All right. Well, I saw what Saida did. I done saw what Saida done. So I knew that Manai was hurting. So Kenneth puts his bow in his back, steps forward, pulls out a short sword as he steps forward, and just tries to go for the same hole that Saida put in there.
That's right.
Gnarly. As the spear, or as the short sword breaks through the other side, you shove it to the hilt. The Manai's eyes turn towards you, widen, and then they just sort of freeze. The glossy blackness turns flat, matte. It begins to shift, turn gray. Its sort of slick, pebbled skin becomes smooth, as if I don't know, as if gaining elasticity somehow as the creature drops to the floor. The poisonous gas disperses. The roping tendrils of blood, roughly in the shape of a humanoid, drop back to the ground and begin flowing once again down the steps. Kenneth, you still have your bonus action.
Alright, I'll put a good berry into Saida then. And I will also put an octopus right on Saida's shoulder. Just weird her out a little bit when she wakes up.
This has to be a creature.
Had to.
Yeah.
We kill it?
Yes, you did.
I did?
Question is it actually dead or not?
Someone go poke it with a stick.
Just cut off the head, or I could torch it with the wand.
The head, I like that. Do we remember from the autopsy?
What's the question?
I think for the next 3 or 4 rounds, Kenneth is going to be lying on his back, staring up at the ceiling, trying to catch his breath.
Fair enough. Arrest comes over and sort of drops down next to you, and soon also just sort of drops backward, making a heavy sigh, sort of staring up at the strange ceiling. Has decided to pull yourself to your feet, or what do you do?
Well, she had her little coughing spell and freak out with the octopus, but afterwards she just sort of like is fine with the octopus chilling there. It's probably a little soothing as much she's rough shape she's in. So, I'd like to go to the Menai and maybe like try to cut off its head. I think that sounds like an excellent suggestion.
Okay. You can easily hack its head from its shoulders with a short sword.
It's right.
You can feel the
I would
tick.
like to green flame blade it just because we're gonna make sure.
Okay. Both the stumps of the neck are smoking, ashy white. Its blood is a mostly sort of clear, thick. It's the faintest sort of white translucence to it. It bears some resemblance, in fact, from Zim's perspective, to the blood of the manticore creatures, that sort of translucent blue, sort of filmy, or translucent.
Take out a vial and fill it up. After putting away my carpenter's tools, which had been tried out to take off the head.
I mean, there's a saw in there. How about Crenshaw? How does Crenshaw react to this?
He's just gonna jog up and be very abashed. His pride is wounded from running away. You know, he knows it was a spell, but he's just feeling his pride is definitely hurt just as much as his body right now.
Yeah.
So, not really gonna say anything. He's just gonna kind of rejoin the party.
As you come up, you come into the chamber, cross it toward the stairs. He's sort of staring past you, a little over your head. His gaze sort of drops down to you as you get closer, until he's looking you right in the eyes, and he doesn't blink. He's just looking at you. No judgment or anything. You kind of see he's kind of becoming more present as you're approaching. As you come up to the stairs, he fishes around for a flask, pulls it out. His hands are shaking. Kind of takes the cap off, starts to take a sip, and then hands it to you.
Crenshaw will take a deep pull from the flask.
Hard fought thing, that. Hard fought. Sort of looks around to Kennett and Saida, to Zim, before he takes the flask back from Crenshaw. Downs a good swallow of it himself. Finds it empty, stuffs it away, pulls out his secondary flask, finishes taking a sip, passes it over to Saida. Kind of just looks down toward the stairs again.
Saida, very with zeal, grabs the flask and says, "Evil does not prevail today." Throws it back.
Nice. No, it doesn't. But soon we'll have to. Well, I suppose soon enough we'll find out what does prevail today, huh? Says RS.
Yes, there was more of these Menai creatures strewn throughout. I don't know if the other
You're really
ones,
low, Sam.
Sorry, I was away from this. We must see if our friends that we met survived. We sent them down to the Relinquary.
Nobody's going anywhere right now. We're going to stand here and stand guard and make sure nobody else comes for this.
We're not much good to anybody right now. Till we get a good rest in us.
Rest? Are you kidding? Fine. Yes, that. Rest.
Well, Zim, you can definitely make a perception check. Any of you can. See what you can see through the shimmering, translucent floors and walls. See what else you might see.
The 14 for Crenshaw.
All right. So
23 for Kenneth.
as you all take up long moments, you can see clusters, darkened clusters, likely of Menai, because trailing them are other smaller clusters, and occasionally blossoming somewhere around them are larger, sort of wavering, shifting shapes that you've come to associate with the horror demons. You can see that a great fight is taking place many floors below in the reliquary. It seems that it's perhaps moving very slowly down an outer corridor. There are several clusters of, occasionally you'll see flashing forms that look like the armor of the Mage Guard, the Sora Hal, in their powerfully enchanted armor and spears and shields that are all sort of connected through sigils and magical chains that bind it all together. They are the Mage Guard because their armor, they're trained to wear this specialized equipment that can absorb magical attacks and turn them back on the wielder. So it seems that finally the Mage Guard, the Sora Hal, have been brought in to help. At least some, because you can only imagine what's happening out in the city, whatever the Menai might be doing to distract the effort so that they could make this, that they could penetrate into the halls of silence. It all speaks of a great cleverness, planning, and dangerously intimate knowledge of the effort. Some things that the Menai said sort of alluded to a more knowledge, that's more specific knowledge of you all. And in fact, they had taunted you about the things that you kept and the prizes that you kept, and the potential paths that you might take. So it seems that the battle for the reliquary is moving outside of the reliquary, but first it had sort of moved in to it. You saw the tail end of a cluster of a fight within what you think is within the reliquary, and now it's slowly, over minutes, beginning to shift out and up one of the corridors. But again, you see several clusters of of violence, of fighting here and there, the flashing of strange magics, and the wavering, almost reverse echo of different sounds. The staccato clicking of the so-called clinkers, the repeating crossbows, and sounds of strange lightning, wavering arcane fire. It seems that things are not moving very quickly at the moment. You could potentially dash off in any direction and help. You could guard this place, as Kenneth has suggested. Kenneth, with that perception, you see after Zim points out a few different things, as he's more familiar, knows the area, knows the layout as much as any magi of his stripe could. It's a complicated place, but you surmise that you have a time to take a short rest here. You think things will perhaps go on a little bit without you, but as is suggested, you aren't much good dying on your feet.
I think we've got time to take a rest here. Let's pull up a knee, prepare ourselves for whatever comes next, and make sure that no one else invades here.
Any responses?
Very well.
Arrest just
Crenshaw's gonna plop down on a stair and pull out his own flask that he keeps on him. One more pull won't hurt. Yep, and if Arrest is empty, Crenshaw will offer pull for a pull.
We've got our normal hit dice that we can re-roll, right? Or,
yeah, absolutely.
That we can roll.
Well, that's what I wasn't sure of, because I thought we took a long rest after, or a short rest after the initial downstairs fight.
No, we've been running ever since
I
we
do not think so.
started.
Yeah, that's why we're all in such bad shape.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Crenshaw used second wind, I think was the closest thing, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So you have all your hit die. The hit die potions can immediately restore your hit die, allowing you to use them again if you didn't, you can gain more hit points.
How many hit die does it restore?
Each one will give you 2 hit die.
Okay. Crenshaw's going to consume one.
Okay.
Can I have one?
Yeah, you all have it. It's kind of standard issue. You each have one.
Oh, okay, cool.
You can have mine too, Side, if you really want it.
I'm good for now, but I mean, I'll hold on to it if you'd like.
I mean, if people need HP, I can hand off mine.
All right. I'm good now. Crenshaw burned all his hit die, and he's actually, you know what? He's going to burn one more for good luck. There we go.
That brings RS
Full
up to
health.
22. So RS is feeling good there.
Crenshaw's back at full HP, and has all his features back. So
Awesome.
Ooh, I get wild shape back.
Now, you also gain another level.
Ooh,
You only get the additional hit
exciting.
points from it. It doesn't heal your hit points. It doesn't refresh your hit die. It doesn't do anything like that. It gives you new spell slots, but not new prepared spells. If you're not a prepared caster, then it will only give you sort of spells in the vein of things you already have. Otherwise, you can save those for when you take a long rest, and you can get the better spells that you would choose. Or you can choose right now and wait till you level up again to choose the new ones. Again, you just get the bonus. You get the extra hit points. You get the extra hit die. Again, you can turn around and use that hit die if you want to. You get the new long and short rest abilities. Any other new mechanics, you'll get those. If you have to prepare spells, you'll have to then go and prepare those spells. Any special abilities that you might have that let you change prepared spells will work in your favor during this short rest. So that was a huge fight. There was something that each of you had to face there that was, and had to come through with something new. Saida, perhaps there was, something. I mean, again, I don't know what to even. I could suggest things for you, each of what it might have been. But as we move into a short break and we go into like sort of the next sessions, this is a really intense scenario, a keystone moment perhaps in you all's in these characters' stories. So I'd be really curious to see what thing that you learned from this, or what in what way did this test you that led to the development of these new skills or unlocking these new magics or finally understanding these teachings or in other ways unlocking your new powers. We don't have to decide right now. Again, I think we should take a short break. I'm going to step off cam. We can keep the mics and everything rolling, so we can jump in and people can chat with us. I think that sounds fine. But if everybody wants to just go off cam right now and take a short break, we can absolutely do that. So how's everybody feeling about that? Individually go off cam or take our 10 minutes?
I just had one question, but I could use the break.
Okay. What's the question?
I don't want to ask it on stream.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, totally. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and transition over to our Be Right Back screen. Let me, I think, bring the tension of our music down, which I'll then, of course, bring right back up once we're back in the moment. But yeah, so we are going to take a short break. We're going to take 10 minutes, and we'll be back for the characters to move forward through the halls of silence and whatever their goals are to move toward the aid of the rest of the effort. Might have multiple options. But thanks for watching so far, and we'll be back here in just a few minutes for the conclusion of or for the rest of the session. Let me do my thing, get this little thing going, and we'll be right back, everybody. Hope y'all are having fun. We certainly are.
think I'm good.
All right.
I'm good. I'm good whenever.
All right.
I'm ready.
All right. So yeah, we are back, everybody, and we're just chatting for a minute as we get started again. We're talking about character progressions and levels and what aspects of the new like 1D&D or new D&D 5.5, I don't know. We're gonna be using and talking about what we're gonna level up as, but also what we're gonna play in the next more like our official stream launch coming up, which we're gonna do another homebrewed campaign. So. Yeah, that being said, I didn't mean to interrupt y'all's conversation. I just wanted to go live. Is there anything? Yeah, so you all go ahead and finish up whatever you were saying. No rush. I'm checking my notes before we jump forward.
I wasn't sure. I wasn't part of that conversation, so.
Yeah, nah, I'm just looking at one D&D paladin and not sure. Whether I'm going to go that route.
All right. Well, if everyone's feeling ready, we can step back into it here.
Won't let me choose it.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, with that level up, did anybody multi-class? Who got the most? Bri, what are you excited about that you got? Anything at this level?
Hit points.
Fighters.
So,
what about you, Saida?
I picked up the tough feat, so I think I said that already, but
No,
I'm just
nice.
excited about it.
No, you didn't say that. I don't think you said that on stream, did you?
I don't think so.
Yeah, tough is really, really good. Especially this world works out pretty well. Extra hit points are useful.
If you're gonna be dumb, you gotta be tough. That's what they say, right?
Is that Crenshaw's theme song?
Yeah. Crenshaw would absolutely listen to like old school country music.
Awesome. Well, how about Saida? What did she get for this level?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Just hit some hit points?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to bring my best game face. I am not in a good mood.
It happens. Thanks for being here. And giving your best effort to come and have a good time and show everybody else a good time. It's appreciated. We can't all be in a good mood all the time, and there's no reason to like not come and have fun and stream just because we're not in the mood we think we're supposed to be in or whatever. And I know it's uncomfortable. Sorry, I'm just saying. Yeah.
I've definitely had a great time with the game. My mind is, my brain is falling apart. I have not eaten hardly anything today, and I've had a really, really stressful day.
Oh.
It's falling apart, so I'm like, I don't know what's happening anymore.
Well, if you need to step away for a minute for whatever reason to get a snack or anything, it's totally cool. Don't hesitate to do so. And that goes for anybody else. If you just need to take care of yourself, we're here to have fun.
I would if I could.
Okay.
I'm gonna go take a nap. Be back 30 minutes. Just kidding.
Okay. What about Kenneth? What did you pick up for this level? Anything?
Well, level 4 is a feat, so I grabbed Sharpshooter, but it's the new version of Sharpshooter, so it doesn't have the damage trade-off in the new version of the rules. So, but it does give you it does add in the you don't take disadvantage for being in melee range. So, I guess that and a stat point in exchange for the big damage boost. So, see how it works.
Okay. Yeah, it's a lot. It's way, way, way toned down in 1D&D, right? It's ability score increase.
Yeah, so you get 1 dexterity out of it.
Okay.
It still has the bypass cover thing. It
Right.
still has the
Firing in melee, long shots.
long range thing.
Right.
And
Ignores cover.
So it adds in the firing in melee, and it subtracts off the trading -5 to hit for 10 damage.
Sure. Still ignores cover. All that stuff. Yeah, that's great. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I was thinking of toning it down to like being able to trade 1 for 1 up to 5. Yeah, I take a -1 for a +1 to damage, that kind of thing. But yeah, stacked with the other abilities of sharpshooter, it still seems a little beefy. But yeah,
Yeah,
that
like
actually.
great weapon master now adds your proficiency bonus to the damage.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if maybe they'll
It's not bad.
if this isn't the final form, but yeah, they've taken out a lot of the damage escalation
Mm-hmm.
from the new rule set. So, but I'm gonna work with it, see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. How about you, Zim? Or Joe?
Helps to unmute. I took the Eldritch Adept feat. And with that, Beast Speech, as fitting as it is, so now I can just talk to creatures at all times.
That's pretty nice. Okay. Awesome. And so yeah, level 4, everyone got their ability score and or feat, yeah. Pon Pon, have you picked a feat for Saida yet, or are you going with an ability score, or are you still deliberating on it?
Feet. I thought I already had them.
Well,
They didn't say anything.
okay, well let me double check then and see.
I got martial versatility. I guess if that's what that is.
No, that's that's one of the class features. But yeah, at coming up to 4th, it should give you a feat. Okay. Well, you can choose
Mage Slayer in the last session for some reason.
Wait, say again?
I took Mage Slayer you gave to me in the last session.
Yeah, I gave you Mage Slayer because you hadn't picked a starting the D&D. Yeah, it's just to go ahead and give you a feat because I figured this would be a really good one for you to have anyway. I just suggested it, but you can take that off and take a different feat if you like.
No, I like it.
Okay, cool. Well then,
I was hoping to use it in the last battle.
so then you have a starting feat still to pick from, and that's sort of depending on your background in 1D&D. And they're pretty simple feats.
Stuff. I feel I won't get into how I feel about it, but I'm a role player who's conceptually struggling to grasp some of the finer details of 5e, let alone a whole new thing. It's like I'm gonna set aside how I feel about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm getting so confuzzled and lost at this point. I just feel like I might need to go. I'm lost and I can't. I'm kind of falling apart. I'm really sorry about that. I'm really sorry about that.
I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, if you do need to go, that's okay. I could also just not throw as much information at you. We can talk about your leveling up between sessions if you want to. Whatever is going to work best for you, you know? You just let us know. And it's fine, whatever you need to do. For sure.
Can you just skip me for a moment?
Okay. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and remove all the turns on the initiative. And let's step back into the moment. As you all are in the Keystone Chamber, you can see through the walls and floors and the moving masses of combat within the halls. Again, as you all rest over the next 15 minutes, the fight outside of the reliquary in the halls, it slowly moves down the halls. It begins to move up the stairs, and it moves toward a side exit. By the time your rest is finished, it's sort of, if you all, let's see here, I'll just show with my hands. If you're in like this cube shape, right, and you're somewhere in the middle, the reliquary was down sort of almost below you. The figures have moved off toward another entrance, and it seems like the fight around that, for the Keystone Chamber is like moved into it, fought in the Keystone Chamber, and is now the reliquary and has now moved back out of the reliquary and is moving toward an exit on the far side, or on one side, because you're basically right in the middle. It's aside from smaller clusters of what you imagine are just Menai still sowing chaos. There doesn't seem to be much else of interest inside the Halls of Silence now. Again, it's just sort of small clusters. Menai, several undead, perhaps, and a horror, in some cases 2, maybe 6, 7 individual clusters moving. But then there's this large group that is the reliquary fight that's moving toward an exit or entrance to the halls itself, moving back out to the streets of Evisar. So go ahead and highlight your tokens, and let's roll initiative for just exploration and roleplay as you all talk about and decide. I'm going to shift us back over to the map really quickly too. Bam. All right. All right. Give me just a moment. All right. Let's see here. Pon, you with us?
Yeah.
Okay. So if that initiative, if you don't want to go first, you can totally re-roll your initiative or drop it down lower if you're not ready to go. That's totally fine. So yeah, would you like to pass move to the bottom of the initiative, Pon? Or unless you're ready, to unless you're feeling sort of ready to jump back into it and decide what you all want to do. And
I would happily go to the bottom of the initiative.
Okay, let's do that then. Put you at an 8.
Thank you.
All right, so top of the order is Zim. How do you proceed? What do you suggest? Anything else that you do with your rest?
Yeah, so during his rest, Zim kind of focuses and see the the same color of that pedestal on the hill temple place swirl around them, and he kind of regains a bit of magical energy.
Nice. Excellent.
That's how so I use natural recovery to gain back a 2nd level spell slot.
There's quite a bit of chi and primordial energy, as well as already sort of worked and encoded magical. It's considered magical energy. So there's plenty to sort of draw back into yourself and recover some of your energy with.
Then kind of getting the word from Kinnit, as Zim's perception was not great. Should we exit? Follow them? Or they seem to be going back into the city. I'll look to
Sure,
the boss.
we'll follow them.
Say that again, Kenneth? I don't think we quite heard you. I think you were talking at the same time.
The battle's still going on, or is it finished at this point?
The fight for the keystone is spilling out toward one of the exits. And from all you can hear, the storm still rages overhead. You have really no idea, other than that, what's happening outside of the strange golden cube of the Hall of Silence. But within, there's sort of clusters, stragglers, like Menai, troublemakers within still, like 6 clusters of them. Based on their movements, it looks like they're just still causing havoc. but a large cluster is moving toward the exit. You can see that figures are falling aside pretty rapidly, and the cluster is getting smaller as it makes its way toward the exit.
All right, we'll go there and see if we can cut them off, I guess.
All right. Is there anything else that you do, especially during your rest? Anything you say, or anything else?
Nothing else from me.
Well, I think we've got 4 good berries left, so we each have 1 now.
All right, fair enough. Double check one thing really quick. Okay. All right. How about Crenshaw?
Crenshaw's nope, nothing in particular. He's ready to fall in and go after the Manai that were attacking the reliquary. So
Okay. All right. Pon Pon decided to do anything in particular with her that short 15 minutes. Is she just sitting and pondering? Is she say anything or do anything?
Well, remarkably, in that short amount of time between my hit dice and we'll just say her natural healing properties, she's recovered all of her HP, which is remarkable. No spells, but I think she kind of just like laid there totally flat and lifeless with the octopus hopefully still on her side. So, like, staring at everything and taking in just what in the world they've been through. What a sprint. What a sprint. I think she kind of likes it, though. She seems the athletic type, you know? Like, it felt good, a good exertion. I died a few times. Now I know the value of life.
Oh, indeed. Oh, indeed. There's definitely an awareness of the sweetness of things that perhaps Saida only feels when she's come close to death.
On the brink.
Yeah. I'm just imagining, too, Kenneth, Saida, and RS all sit down, maybe one after the other, and sprawl back. And just you each all like just lay there in some combination of sprawled out over the stones. As a sort of mixed pool of your own blood rolls down the stairs. And then, so you all are sort of fixed on your goal. I'm going to bring us back to just the faces. And as we're going to do the next part with just pure theater of the mind. So as you all ready yourselves, and again, feel free to jump in, role play, say anything during this part while I describe you all just getting ready. So you all get your things together. You've bound some of your wounds, and had some perhaps insights, and in your exhaustion are finding an efficiency of thought and movement that you may not have even felt before, even in all your trials and testing, the hard trainings, various and strange to each of you. But even in those, like the long run you've made through all this, being completely unprepared for this sort of situation, is absolutely driving you to new skill and awareness and perhaps again not poise but efficiency in thinking and action. So with that, you all cluster together and begin to head back out. Do you have a marching order, or are you all just running as a cluster? Is anyone scouting ahead? How do you move through the halls? And you
Can it
speak out
takes
of order,
point.
for sure. Okay. Then how do you move? Then you can go ahead and make any checks that you need to make.
Like we were doing before, I assume Crenshaw will be a few steps behind me, but I'll be trying to sneak around and, peeking around corners and trying to stay hidden.
Okay. Go
Yep.
ahead and make those stealth and perception checks.
22 on stealth,
22 stealth. Nice.
16 perception.
Very nice. All right, and who did you say was you were just ahead of? Who did you say was right behind you?
Oh, Crenshaw. Do I need to make those checks as well? Because Crenshaw is going to give everything away. So maybe he's far enough back to where he's not going to endanger the scout's stealth.
Okay. Yeah, that seems right. So
Yeah.
25, 30 feet. It's probably good enough. As Kennett's not dashing around corners, he's just creeping up just ahead of you all. So that even if you all are, the group is heard coming, Kennett is still unseen and gets a little bit of advanced, warning. All right, so as you all move along, you move through, again, you move back through the area, strange, none of the dust left behind from the vanishing horror demons, but the corpses of the Menai and Effort folk are very real, still strewn like child's dolls dropped in mid-play about the corridors. It's a strange thing to see blood splatters almost hanging in midair as it's strewn over the nearly invisible surface of some of the walls. In some places they're so translucent they're almost transparent, and you'll just see sort of blood running down nothingness here and there, but also the strange milky but mostly clear fluid that is the Menai's blood. You can see sort of congealing into sort of white powdery clusters that cake and dry like the surface of mud, sort of breaking apart a bit. So as you pass back through, well, when you came through before, you all were rushing through, unwilling to touch the Menai corpses and not having the time or resources to check on any of the fallen. But in general, even as you know you're going to find other fallen folks as you move through the stone. So as you do, what do you all do in this area? Do you move through? Do you stop and examine, or attempt to do sort of medicine checks and see if anyone's alive?
Yeah, we gotta stop them from looting the vault. I'm all from getting down there and stopping that before they get all kinds of stuff they shouldn't have.
Yeah, I think we continue. On and head off. If we can find out a way to head off these Menai, it'd be best.
Okay.
Agreed.
Saida, how about you? What are your thoughts?
I think that she's a bit taken back at the prospect of doing this some more.
No.
But simultaneously, what other choice do we have? So all that going on inside of her, she just nods and moves forward with her troop.
Man, yeah, intense. I love it. So as you slip forward, you sort of pass over, stepping nimbly in some places, jumping in some other places over some of the fallen. You make your way laterally across, just weaving through corridors until you find yourself in a long, 30-foot wide chamber that goes toward the exit. You can see at the end a tight knot of darkly dressed magi, sort of. Excuse me. There's a burp here somewhere. Excuse me. You can tell, Zim can tell that they're right at the entrance. You can see the sort of wavering, almost waterfall-like, curtain-like walls that have been pulled apart by the strange artifice of your master, your teachers and such. It seems that the magi of the halls are like following a group of the Menai out. Now, at this point, it's pretty obvious that stealth and being careful is you're not going to get there in time. These things will already be away from the entrance. The fight will spill out into the city, into who knows what madness. That being said, you all can decide to just run pell-mell toward the situation or continue to move cautiously.
Your call, Kenneth.
Zim, what are your thoughts?
Well, I could get there a little bit faster, but I don't think I can stop them. Perhaps we just sprint that way? I don't know.
I gotta admit, I'm feeling kind of dumb. I don't understand what my choices are here. I thought there was two things to protect. We protected one of them. Now we're going to protect the other.
The other one...
So
I thought.
I think they've already gotten away from the reliquary.
Yes.
And they've left the halls of silence. They're out in the streets of Eversar.
Yes, they are moving. They were moving toward the exit when you started. When you started
Okay,
following
that's
them.
I
Yeah,
missed that somehow. I'm sorry.
that's okay. It happens. A lot of information, and yeah, no worries. Happy to refresh that. But yeah, you're moving toward the exit. You can see them a few hundred feet ahead. You can see at least the backs of the effort magi, and you can see like glaring, strangely colored lightning and fire coming from the Manai just on the other side of them, as looks like they're just now stepping out outside. So you can see the exit, and the choice is you can dash toward them to try to catch them and take part in this fight, or you can and then risk anything sort of jumping out or coming out behind you, or you can continue to move carefully and likely not catch these Manai until they're already out into the streets with more of their companions. So that is the choice. Be cautious, continue to cautiously approach, or run pell-mell toward the fight.
Man, I don't like the idea of running pell-mell. We're just gonna go straight through a trap and die. So no, I vote cautious. I vote head on a swivel, moving at the right speed, making sure that we don't get ambushed.
Eve Saida agrees on this one, and she usually just charges forward.
Fair enough. How about Crenshaw?
You heard the boss.
All right. Is Zim good?
Looking around, realizing he doesn't actually have soldiers that he's like dropping commands down to. He just kind of looks at the rest and goes, "Oh yeah, you heard him."
Like, yeah, I heard him.
Yeah.
I'm right here. I heard him.
Army of one.
Is everybody giving me orders now?
Everyone just tells him the same thing all at once. That's how it works.
He's like the guy from Office Space with, with 8 different bosses.
Oh, poor guy.
Those
Yeah, no.
GPS reports.
Zim will be. No, you think they too might be under the nice influence? That'd be. Okay, yes. Suppose we should sneak that way.
Decided to have any thoughts or counter to that? Or does that
No. We've seen enough battle and enough blood.
Okay. So as you all slip carefully but purposefully down the translucent golden corridors, you can still see through the walls into other chambers. You can all make perception checks as you move forward. In these cases, it can't be lower than your passive perception. And in some cases, it'll be right at your passive perception, looks like.
Crenshaw got 16 on perception.
Okay, awesome. Crenshaw,
17 for Kenneth.
awesome. Crenshaw and Kenneth, you see nothing but still shapes lying low on the ground within the halls. So you're able to pick up your pace for the last 60 feet or so, and the scene that's revealed to you is something of madness, something out of it's undescribable. It's neither great nor terrible. It's impossible. It's eerie and beautiful. The sky is full of strangely colored lightnings in pink and yellow, orange and black, sort of outlined with its own jagged white lines. There is scarlet and indigo fire sort of billowing out in sheets, and there are normal, like red, orange, and yellow fireballs exploding in the air. And as the air is full of floating and flying Menai, each in a different sort of color, dark burned sienna, a crushed, a sort of fuchsia crushed velvet, and more, just endless sea of colors. They're all dim, drab. They're not bright colors, but they're very subtle and unique. They all have the same sort of arming robes over that strange glass armor that is colored to match their robes, but translucent to where you can see through it. You see the closest to you, most of their armor is cracked and broken away, their robes burned, bodies, faces, wrists, and hands sort of slashed open, limbs burned off by the fire of your allies. As you step out through the glistening waterfall-like curtain, the walls parted by magic of the effort, to see this, you're sort of standing behind a bulwark of effort folk who are, of effort magi, acolytes as well as masters. You see among them the Kimura and several other of just the great masters of the Halls of Silence. Standing in front of them are just a ragged few of the Sora Hal, their black and gold gleaming armor, blazing, the runes standing out in bright white fire. Their spears are pointed toward the sky, their shields up, and there seems to be a filaments of like silver strands connecting these shields, making a shape around them. You can see this strange fire, lightning, and sort of like globules of like boiling green energy flying forth from the Menai, arcing and streaking downward toward those who are chasing the Menai. As they hit this strange area, they'll sort of the magics will vanish, and you can see the runes on the shields, spears, and armor of the Sorahau blaze even higher, even greater. As you come out into view, the tallest among you, particularly Saida, as Crenshaw is fairly tall as well, but the elves of this world are fairly tall. So as you come out, you can see one and then another of the Sorahal stiffen, smoke boiling from the seams in their armor. And they drop. You can see the sort of burned ruin of their hands and faces, as if they look burned, as if the craft of their armor was overwhelmed by the sheer power and volume of Menai spells and was not able to sort of transfer that back out. The three in front of you sort of step closer together and set their feet, but you can see wisps of smoke begin to come from their clothing as well. The magi in front of you are each pointing wands, chanting, throwing their hands forward, and darts of white light and blossoms of fireball and streaks of sort of normal, natural-looking lightning arc toward the Menai. This is all happening over several seconds. You're just taking a lot in. In the sky, you can see just littering the air over the fortress city are many Menai. None of them are super close together. They seem to be wise enough to space themselves apart for fireballs and such. They seem to know the tactics and the technologies, the preparations that the effort has. And you can see many Menai just pointing, grasping as these sort of seeds of fire, of these fireballs arc toward the Menai. You can see here and there a Menai reach out and grip the air. You can see these small pins stop, and you can see them launch these fireballs back toward the defenders or off into some other part of the city, scattering smoldering your allies. But among them, in a cluster, that you can see that the group that has moved out, there's a small cluster. There's 3 of them sort of in the back that are turned. One of them is holding up a like an ugly grayish pink shield. It seems to shift like fire, but in frozen frames, and seems to be sort of defending the only cluster you see of Manai. One of them clutches a large tome under its arm as it floats forward. They all just float erect, no change in their poise, no real gesture other than their hands. Their arms don't even move beyond the elbow as they just cast spells, floating, and they're absolutely silent. There's no sound of any of their magics aside from the cracking of their strange electricity. But the sounds are strange, distorted, and often sound backwards, if that makes sense. So at the top of the order, as you all step out, Zim, you can look up and see these Manai clustered. There's 3 facing you. One is holding up a shield. The other 2 are each gesturing and throwing, pink and bright, glaring yellow lightning down toward the mage guard and the magi just in front of you that you were following. The ones that were fighting and defending the keystone that are now outside the entrance are just in front of you, and there is just hell and madness in the skies. You don't even have time to look down to see who's wounded and fallen. Like, your eyes are just drawn upward, and in the middle of the sky above you is this cluster. There's 3 looking at you. Just behind them is the one holding the book. All of them except the 2 flanking the shield holder that's holding up the magical shield. They all seem ragged. Their armor cracked, slashed in multiple places. Many of them are missing limbs, but they've not lost any of their poise as they sort of drift back toward the west, attempting to escape Ebisar. Currently, they're about 50 feet away, but up at an angle from you. Zim, how do you proceed? What do you say? What do you do?
All right. Pulling out one of the wands of fireball. Say, no, we must stop them. I don't even know what's in that book, but they can't acquire it. And I'll launch a fireball at the book carrier.
Awesome. All right, you can go ahead and drop that in chat for us, and you launch it toward the book thrower. Now, one of the Manai flanking the shield holder, holding up the wavering, ugly pink and gray shield, does that where he attempts to, gripping the air. You can make a wisdom save to it, it's definitely a matter of will. And you manage to push the fireball. You manage to, just sort of fusing your will into it as you trigger the wand itself, launching the fireball through the air. The fireball seems to slip through its grasp, past them, and exploding. Give me just a moment. All right, that is a save. And that 20, it's not. It's a 19 on the save.
Well, I'll take anything within that 20-foot radius. We'll take
The robes on its
31
back
or half.
burn away. You can see that some of the cracked glass has melted. You can see exposed its milk white flesh. You can see that it's sort of gnarled and as if as if it's sort of wrinkling, aging as the flame hits it. But it does continue to float. The flame also boils over one of the other of Manaya, your choice, and they attempt to save as well.
Perfect.
And they do not. They take full damage.
Sweet.
All right, next in the order is Kenneth. Unless, sorry, Zim, you can also attempt to move closer if you like, as you'd be pushing through the crowd of Magi toward the Mage Guard.
How close is the crowd to us now?
About 10 feet. Well, yeah, they're right in front of you, but the crowd is about 15 feet thick.
Okay.
Before you get to the Mage
I
Guard.
can technically move through a space of a creature that is any size larger than me, which I suppose is probably most.
Yeah,
Here.
yeah. Although there's a lot of
so-
gnomes among the Magi.
Yeah. I'll move into the crowd, but not strictly through yet.
Okay. Okay, excellent. So you move into the crowd. You get a little bit better view as,
Yep.
you know, up at the edge of the crowd, there's like maybe 5 feet, and then the three Sora Hal, the three Mage Guard, are just holding their steadily channeling like bright white beams of fire from their spears as the magic plays through their armor. They're just sort of playing these bright beams of white fire across the Manai. Occasionally, when they focus on one for long enough, the Manai either draws up some defense or vanishes as the fire fades. But each time they play over the that sort of pinkish gray shield that one of the Manai defending the book holder is holding up, it seems to fade as it touches the shield, but at the same time it seems to draw magic from the armor and weapons of the Sora Hal. So they are not focusing on the book carrier for that reason. All right. So next in the order then is Kenneth.
Are they within 600 feet?
Yes, easily. They're 60 feet away. 50 feet away. I'm sorry.
I'm going to try to staple that book to the guy's chest. I'm going to put an arrow through the book and through the Manai.
All right.
I'll use my session inspiration. That's not very inspirational. Let me try again.
All right.
Phew! 23. Actually, that's a 25.
That is definitely a hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
Nice.
All right, that's 11 damage. Is he already hurt or not?
He seems pretty hurt. So yeah, you can go ahead and roll that extra damage.
All right,
Okay.
so 15 damage.
You can tell by the angle it's sort of cut through the book at an angle, and the bolt slammed into its hip. The arm kind of stops moving at its side, and you can all instantly see strands of dotted black mist begin to seep out of the book itself and curl around the Manai. It looks down, its brow furrowing down, its eyes narrowing to slits as it looks down at whatever it is leaking from the Forgotten Codex. All right, next in the order, unless you have any other actions, Kenneth, you can move closer, of course. How do you proceed? You have your bonus action. as
No,
well.
I'd like to stay back. I do not want to be in lightning bolt range with the rest of these things.
All right.
I spread myself out.
All right. All right. The allies and Manai will go at the end of the round. Next in the order is Crenshaw.
As the arrow pierces the book, Crenshaw is gonna draw his heavy crossbow and aim for the same Manai as it turns its head. He's gonna be aiming for a headshot here with the heavy crossbow. Hoping to get a good shot on it. So he's gonna launch the crossbow bolts. I will also use my session inspiration.
All right. Perfect.
Ah, that sucks. All right, 12.
Okay, that is a miss.
Should have been aiming center mass, not at the head. And then Crenshaw is going to shout at the crowd, and he's going to say, "Move, make way!" And he's going to try and command them to split on the street so that there's a path down the center of them, so that he can kind of charge without hindrance.
Okay, make that persuasion, intimidation, or deception check. Make that social check to see if you can move the people with your words. Everyone's very focused.
Persuasion. Okay.
If the Magi will move,
he's gonna
then you can slip in between the Mage Guard.
he's gonna go intimidation. 18.
Nice.
The Magi, several of them being acolytes and ones that Zim far outranks, immediately just move as if involuntarily. And there's a small slip you can dart right through.
And Crenshaw's going to move up as close as he can, just kind of chasing after the Manai.
Okay. You know that once you step through the field held up by the Mage Guard, that you'll be susceptible to any spells that hit that area.
So are they? So the Mage Guard are holding up a shield as well?
Yeah. They have their
Okay,
own.
then he wants to step up. So if he goes up to the edge of the field, right behind the where it's at,
Mm-hmm.
is how close would he be to the Manai?
If you move up that far, roughly like 25 feet, but they're up at an angle.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're about 15 feet off the ground.
Okay. He's gonna step up right behind the barrier
Okay. Excellent.
and prepare to take another shot with the crossbow on his next turn, because this one's done.
Okay. All right. Do you have any? Can you make any use of bonus action?
No, unfortunately not.
All right. So next in the order is Saida.
I've got a tactic to this, I promise. Can I get in as close as I can to that Manai?
Yeah, you will be exposing yourself. Like I said, if you move through past the Mage Guard, then you'll be exposed to any area effects that they throw down, and they're kind of throwing lightning intermittently. So at the bottom of the round, when it's their turn, you'll probably be subjected to an AOE.
I do have something up my sleeve for that.
Awesome.
Um,
Okay, I love it.
I'd like to finally use my green flame blade. There's because this is theory of the mind. I don't see anything on the map, right? Are there foe next to the Manai we've been attacking?
Yeah, definitely.
Within 5 feet.
Within 5 feet of them, yeah, there's several that are clustered together. There's 3 of them right next together, trying to shield the one who's carrying the book. So yes.
I'm going to at Manai because he's evil, and that is Sada's. That's her prime directive. So,
Okay.
charging straight in, screaming with my green flame blade
Okay.
up in the air.
So they are. So they're, like I said, they're 15 feet up in the air. However, the fortress is constantly being built. There's stacks of scaffolding. There's crates full of materials everywhere.
Right.
So there are a couple of different places, one of each, that you could step up on and leap higher.
Can I do some cool, like, if I roll for it, of course, some running and jumping up that parkour, essentially?
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
That would probably be athletics.
I would take athletics or acrobatics in this case.
Ow. No, Saya.
Well, in either case, you succeed. It may not be as cool as you want, but you can, describe some moderate coolness.
So, Saida, with her general spirit, goes charging forward, but, slips and stumbles maybe just a little bit. She might, if you could notice closely in this heat of this moment, even might turn a little red in the face, but it quickly fades as she scrambles up to the top and pulls out her sword, igniting it. charging forward.
So you leap off of the stack of crates up in, toward the three Manai that are floating, one holding a wavering shield. The others seem to be like ready. One just sort of tried to counter a spell. The other seems ready as well. As you arc up toward them. You come within range. There's the shield, the one wielding the shield. The one with obviously still has a readied action. But you have enough that potentially you might. Again, it's up to you who you're trying to attack. The one with like I said, there's several that are all clustered together. So who are you aiming for? Are you trying to sort of arc over them toward the one carrying the book? Or are you going toward the one holding up the magical defensive shield? Or one of the others?
I'm going for the one with the book that we've been aiming for, just to kind of, take them out.
Okay. So you take a few extra steps, climbing higher on this sort of stack of crates and scaffolding, and are able to leap and arc up over the three that are holding the line, as it were. As you fall through space, you can make your attack on the one wielding the book, who now that as you arc closer, you can see deep slashes, spear holes, pierced holes, many burned places, and you can see that its leg has been burned off below the knee. It seems very hurt, but you can also see that its robes are finer than some of the others. It's reacting incredibly quickly. Its head is whipping towards you even as Saida falls, its hand coming up as if to clutch you or cast a spell. But Saida makes her attack first.
Oops.
Okay.
Wrong one.
Okay.
Hit the wrong.
That's a good one. Now that we know that fitful green flame springs up over your blade. What are you wielding now? Do you move it back? Is it shifted back to a spear? Is it a longsword or a rapier? Or are you back to a scimitar?
I like my scimitar. That's like the one she really likes to catch on fire. It just looks the coolest.
Okay.
Roll a 12.
All right, 12 is going to miss. As she arcs back down through space, there are several gasps, and you hear RS shouting at the top of his lungs, just as you are, like, for you, sort of. And though you miss, his shout sort of continues, and you can hear that he's saying your name in one long, stretched out shout. And not, like, in worry or concern, but celebrating your the glory of what he just saw. You're leaping through space into this cluster of Manai, your blade blazing with green fire, and you can see several other sort of shouts as you come down. You can kind of see that it has galvanized or refocused many of your allies in watching you just sort of leap right out into danger. Before Zim's turn,
I do not have. Oh, sorry.
What'd you say?
I was gonna say I don't have bonus actions.
Okay.
Currently available.
As a few of the bolts come arcing toward one of the Manai defending, it holds up its hand and makes a grabbing gesture. The bolt stops. It makes several quick gestures. It turns and begins rapidly dividing into multiple arrows. It then opens its hand and points, and they all fly forward. They pelt into the ground. They drive into the steel plating with wrenching, shrieking noises, like a hail of silver bolts. They fall down among Saida, forcing Saida to make a dexterity saving throw. They pelt into the air, that is the shimmering silver field that the Mage Guard are holding up. Saida, you take 12 points of damage. The shield that the Sorahal are holding up seems to shimmer and shrink as another one of the Mage Guard falls. As that happens, several other Manai begin immediately pointing and absolutely laying waste to several of the Magi on either side, now not protected by the screen as it shrunk. You see several driven back. A few of them run past you and the rest of your allies, taking cover even behind you all, just inside the Halls of Silence. Several sort of shouldering wounded or carrying people in their arms outright, others having lifted them up with floating discs and other like levitation magics and such, dragging fallen and likely dying folks in. All right, give me just a moment. As the one holding the shield begins shifting it and casting a spell with his other hand, you can see it make a fist. The wavering shield that it's holding falls apart while it erects another identical one in its place, as if refreshing or replacing the magical defenses. A storm of bolts coming up from the ground, mostly around you all, as you can see that many defenders have moved toward this exit of the halls, perhaps with some warning from the Magi, unable to but trying to catch them in a net in 2 dimensions was impossible, as they can fly in 3. Many of these arrows are stopped again by this new wavering field. Some of them seem to slip through of that strange twitchy, almost stop motion flames. That strange dull pinkish green or pinkish gray. Some bolts move through that, slashing into Manai just beyond that. Other magics billow up, many of them sort of roiling around that pinkish gray shield, but you can see it get thinner, finer, painted now with sort of striated lines as if it's stretched out as more arcane fire and lightning plays across it as silver bolts pelt into it and drop to the ground. You see in several other places many more Manai sort of stopping, clutching these bolts, multiplying them into others. You see some of these fireballs stopped in midair, turning to blackened cinders, which then begin to sort of swirl and waver, blasting back forth toward the casters, arresting them with high, shrill shouts of fear, and clusters of both like effort soldiers and Magi sort of drop and begin cowering in abject fear. The top of the order is it? Let's do a time check. We're at time. I'm down to go for a little while longer. We've all got stuff to do tomorrow and other demands, so I'll just run down the initiative and check in how everybody's feeling. Zim, how you feeling with time and attention and focus?
My exhaustion is literally starting to take my mind.
Okay.
So yeah, I could maybe do another round at most, but I think if it might be better energy-wise to start again next time.
Okay. Kenneth, how you feeling with time and attention and energy?
Yeah, let's wrap it up for this session.
Okay, that sounds good. Crenshaw, does that sound good to you?
Yep.
Okay. Saida, does that sound all right with you?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Awesome. Fantastic. Let me go ahead and transition out of this action music. So, as time flows more and more slowly to an imperceptible crawl, our figures, from our perspective, halt in their motions. We can bring our attention back out from their immediate surroundings and see the city, see these Manai spread out all over, a trail, almost like a trail of ants, making its way all the way back to land. The further from you they get, the more they become sort of darkened specks with strange light dancing in fitful turns about them. The black, sort of dotted ink-like smoke pouring from the forgotten codex around the Manai, still drawing its curiosity, but not its alarm, though Zim, you suspect it should be alarmed. But you can hear the static over the city of crossbows reloading themselves and firing. You can hear the large thumping sounds of the heavy ballistas on the walls firing over the city, trying to tear through the ranks of Manai. But nowhere in the air around them do you see the shifting horror demons, as if all of their attention is focused now on, tearing apart the defenders and safeguarding what they've stolen from the reliquary. Beyond them, natural lightning plays out in the sky. A great storm is hovering above you, but some magic not of the efforts is holding a transparent and invisible dome over the city. Beyond the points of Manai, you can see water streaming down the surface from the ever-present rains, and the Manai sort of robes begin to hang limp and sodden when they pass through the barrier. The cluster of Manai that you're currently focused on move another 30 feet away as they continue to marshal their energies and hold off the defenders. But we'll pick up the but we will actually, everybody just quickly roll a d20, a simple d20.
That's a 9 from Crenshaw.
Awesome.
9 from Cider.
Beautiful, beautiful.
9 from Zim, 9 from Crenshaw, 9 and a
5
5.
from Kennett.
Come on,
Awesome.
Kenneth. Gee.
It seems that
It's
they
supposed to
are.
all be 9s.
Well, as we pause here, I will say that it seems like the Manai are slipping away. However, they are still within range for another desperate round of attempts, or perhaps one more. But we'll pick that up next session, on session 12 or maybe 13. I'm losing track here, of Landfall. Y'all, this has been intense and super fun. We're probably going to go ahead and bounce out without much sort of after chat. I think a couple of us are pretty tired and stuff like that. But we really appreciate you all. We're going to raid out here in just a moment. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and put our session ended page up. Thanks for joining us. This has been a super blast. And yeah, success to our heroes, at least in part. They have saved the city. They have kept the Keystone Chamber and the fortress, the fortress city itself intact. The Halls of Silence not expanded beyond their capacity. But the Manai are attempting to escape with the Forgotten Codex and all of the combined knowledge of necromancy and dark magics that the effort has stored in one place, perhaps foolishly. Yet, we'll see what happens next time on Landfall. Thanks, everybody. I think
I've got a raid ready if you want it.
Okay, go ahead and link it to me. Or actually, you can go ahead and take care of it. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and raid out. Who we're raiding out to?
It's Lynn Slorian. She's currently
she's
playing
great.
D&D also.
Oh, she's great. She's super great. All right, so stay tuned for Lynn's Lorian and for next week of the next session of Landfall. Thanks, everybody. I'm DM Feanor. We are the Mythlanders. And thank you very much. We'll see you next time, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.